Hey guys, good morning. It's day 140 out of 366. The world is quiet today. Maybe it's just this part of town, but it's quiet and it's slow. It's like a go with the flow, chill kind of day. Same drill, comments, thoughts, new insights. Let me know. I'm reading them one by one. I also got feedback from people, which trust me, it does more good with your feedback. Anyway, for today's briefing, two things. Number one, China defends its handling of the outbreak. They pledged $2 billion to bolster global fight, but they brush aside calls for independent investigation of the origins of the coronavirus. On my previous briefing, I think it's on my first briefing, some countries wanted an independent investigation regarding China's answer or this coronavirus in general. So right now, China is brushing aside calls for this one. Also, this increased contribution put pressure on the Trump's administration, which has cut U.S. funding to Global Health Agency. But from U.S. reaction, a senior Trump administrative official called China that whatever they're doing, it's just to distract calls from a growing number of countries or nations demanding accountability from the Chinese government. Secondly, Japan's economy is gonna enter recession. We all know that Japan's economy is the third world largest after US and China. So if not, that's a new fact. The virus, I think, dealt a blow with Japan's expert in tourism. At the same time, we note that Japan's consumer spending dropped. This is due because there's an increase in taxes. I think this was imposed last year, wherein consumption from 8% tax went up to 10%. When we say recession, that's just due to the technical term. This is from Investopedia. Investopedia is like a good site to just search anything related to like economics, finance. I use that site. So for recession, it's like a declining economic performance, but there are factors. We need to see real GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale and retail sales. It's technically defined by 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. And I think with Japan not doing lockdown, they were preventing a recession from happening. But even if we're not on lockdown, I think they haven't prevented that recession from happening. Let's just see in the couple of days to come when they release the data for April, I guess. We'll see about that. Now, question for today. How are you coping up recently? I know the pandemic brought a toll on our mental, emotional, physical, and some spiritual health of ours. And I think the anxiety is there, the worry, the concern, what will happen to my friends, to my family, to me. And I think that's something that's also worrying, and I think the anxiety is normal for all of us. What will happen to my job? What will happen, for example, if I lose my job? And those are valid concerns, and those are just valid period to begin with. So I noticed something though, and I've searched from sites, and I've narrowed down my search. It's from CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and also from Business Insider about common denominators on how to cope up with this pandemic. And the number one is to limit screen time. By screen time, meaning limit watching news, hearing news, reading news. I know it's good to get informed, but also it's not good to feed yourselves with lots and lots of news every day. I used to do this when I was still working. I read the news regarding the coronavirus situation probably nth time in one day. And I realized when I left work and I went back to the academe, I realized that it's not helping. It's just giving me anxiety. and then I stop, and then I just limit myself from reading which part of the news I want to read. But I remember there was a week where I haven't touched any social media, because, or if I do, I avoid or I skip things that's related to the situation. And also, number 2, you take care of your body, and I think this is important. You drink liquids, you exercise if you have time or if you want to. You also eat healthy. That's how you take care of your body. But I think everyone reacts differently in this middle of a pandemic. Like, who knew there would be a pandemic 2020, right? So I think it's valid. I think at the end of the day, people react differently, people cope up differently. For me, I cope up by getting out of bed, putting on some clothes that I know. It's just like me putting on some clothes that I know I would put on if ever I'm outside. So I try to dress up sometimes because that's how I get my energy for the entire day. And also, I think it's high time, like, if you want to connect to others, to connect to your old friends, for example, etc. But this one is interesting. This one is interesting because this is from Business Insider. It says you tell yourself something certain, meaning right now, because there's an overwhelming uncertainty, telling yourself something certain that will happen will make you lessen that uncertainty. So I don't know, maybe certain things that you're gonna say is, I'm certain that after this pandemic, I'm gonna go out and go to the park or something, or just I'm gonna go to a mall, or I'm gonna shop, or I'm gonna dine out with my friends, whatever. So I think for this one, it means that you can, from doing something certain or from telling yourself something certain, you establish a connection with the present moment. So, and I think this is interesting. Why not we try this one? Why not try this one? Yeah, for all of us. I haven't tried this one. All I did was say, when that happens, I'm not sure. I don't want to make decisions like in the future because there's so much uncertainty. But maybe we're gonna change our mind and say, okay, let me tell you something certain. This maybe is something good to do. I don't know. But lastly, I think one of the things that we also have to do is do a part in protecting the community. And I always reiterated that ever since the first video that I released, that we do the part in protecting the community on our own way. So if we stay at home, for people who can't stay at home, for the people working, then I think that's a good way for us to do our part in the community. It's not just a saying that because I'm not a doctor, because I'm not a nurse, or because I'm not this and that and this and that, so I can take part in helping the community. I think even by staying at home, we're looking out for the people who doesn't have a choice but to go out. So I guess that's it, and I'll leave you with my ever-trusted planner. Oops. Okay, I thought my phone went down, fell. So anyway, for today, it's by John C. Maxwell. He's an author. I've read some of his books. It's mostly centered on leadership, like business, but mostly on leadership. I had his book when I was it's about teenage leadership. It's quite a good book, but I haven't seen that book, so maybe someone borrowed it. It says here that we cannot become what we need by remaining what we are. You cannot become what we need by remaining what we are. That's true, and it's up for your interpretation. So I hope you had a good day ahead of you. I hope you will have fun, and I hope that you have a good day ahead of you. What else? So I'm gonna cut this short. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna see you all tomorrow.